Hello everybody, welcome to another weekly forecast video from F45trading.com. I'm going to discuss upcoming week's trading events for April 30th to May 4th. So we're starting a new month here, and it is non-farm news coming out on May 4th, so make sure you watch for that. Please don't trade May 4th because the markets could see a little bit of volatility. Going through the week, though, I'll just bring up the weekly calendar here so you can kind of see what we're looking at. Monday's probably going to be a pretty good day trading. There's some there is some Kiwi news actually that I'm going to discuss at the end of this recording here. Could be a good setup that I'm looking at on that one, so I'll discuss that one at the end. But pretty quiet for Monday, and then Tuesday we have some bank holidays happening here, so just be careful on that. There may not be a whole lot of action for some of these pairs in with the euro and the Swissy more specifically. The pound sterling has a little bit of news, so we could see some movement and some manipulation in that pair, but so we'll have to watch for that one. And then going down Tuesday, a little bit of news for the CAD and some major news coming out for the Canadian dollar, actually, with Governor Pohl speaking. And then going into Wednesday, again, some low impact news events that start the day off, and then later in the day we have obviously crude oil inventory numbers and ADP non-farm. So and then there is an FOMC statement later in the day. So we could see price. What tends to happen when you have these later news releases and the Fed speaking with the US dollar, you typically have delayed price actions or extended runs in price. So we'll just keep that in mind for Wednesday. Thursday and Friday, typically I don't trade Thursday and Friday before NFPs. But we'll watch for that and just kind of play that one as it goes towards the end of the week here. So I'm just going to dive into it quick. I'll try to keep this video short, like I always say, and hopefully cap it off around the 20-minute mark here for you guys so you can enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Looking at the US dollar, though, obviously you can see the past 2 weeks we've had a nice run up here. Finally broke out of this consolidation area in here, and I was calling the market higher for quite a while now, back in here early January. There was a bit of price, a draw on price up into this consolidation area in here, and they just kind of toyed with everybody. They faked everyone out 1, 2, 3, 4 times in here on a potential run, and just kept suppressing price, keeping it lower, really building up the stops above the market here, and then they finally ripped through here Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of last week and took all those out. So traded back up into the consolidation range in here, and came in on the weekly high at 91.77 basically. So the middle of this consolidation range, I've got it marked out here with this black line at 91.90, essentially 91.90, 91.90, just depending on your broker feed. But that is basically the middle of that range. So why I've got that marked out is if price wants to push up through there and get a candle that closes above that line, then we're going to continue higher on the US dollar, and we'll be looking at price to come run up into this area here and into here, and definitely take out this range here. So we'll have to wait and see what price wants to do opening up on Monday's trading for that. But I think what more likely is going to happen, so this was a nice draw on liquidity, came up, soaked all of it up, took everybody out of the market who was going short on the US dollar. And that's a big rejection candle right here. Now, I don't typically trade candle patterns. I'm not like a doji trader, or I mean, there's 100 different candle patterns, obviously, but I'm not a big candle pattern guy. But this is definitely a big rejection wick up in here, and with price closing lower. So what I'm honestly expecting price to do for the rest of this week is to continue to pull back and see a bit of a retracement back into this consolidation area here. Now, I just want to avert your attention just to one little area here. So I'm going to take the low of this consolidation area to the high of the consolidation area, and on my feed it's up here, but I'll just actually take it to here, just the body of this candle. Whoops, and I'll take the body of this candle here as well too. And just kind of give you an idea, so I'm looking at this area. You see this 50% level right here? That's the middle of the consolidation. Typically what happens when you see price, and let's see if I can get rid of this here and clean this up for you guys a little bit. Typically what you see after price breaks out of consolidation level, there's one of two areas that price will reach back into. One is obviously the highs of the consolidation area, which I've discussed 100 times. So the high would either come in up here or down into here potentially. But the next big one is this level right here, the middle of this big consolidation area. So that would basically be the line in the sand. So what I'm saying is prices run up here nicely. If we don't want to see bullish price action continue, or if the markets don't want to see it go any higher than this and they start to reject, I wouldn't be expecting a bounce occur if price were to close below here. If price went below this 89.55 level, I'm going to suggest that we're probably going to see lower prices and potentially hit these levels that I've been talking about for a while down in this area down here. So I'm just going to grab this if I can. So this little range in here, I think this is going to be definitely a draw on price. Longer term. So again, if we don't get any higher than these ranges up in here, if this was the high that came in on Friday of last week and price starts to dump and it wants to start pushing lower underneath this 59.55 level, then I'll be expecting them to run back down to here and sweep out the lows out of here. Okay. So that's sort of what I'm looking for at the dollar. But I definitely think going into this week and into non-farm, I think we're probably going to see price on the US dollar decline. And what I want to do, I'm just drop it down to an hourly here. There's a couple of levels. Friday really creeped down. I was actually putting a couple of levels on charts on Friday after Thursday's big push up here. And I was just basically commenting that if price breaks this 91.27 level, then it'll probably run down and run under these lows here, and if it goes under there, then it's probably going to end up shooting for this 90.45 level here. Okay, and if you go out on a 4-hour, you can see there's a big level of support, I believe, right here at 90.27, 90.30, 90.25 to 90.30 level. Basically, the old highs right in here. So that I think is going to be the draw. Now, if price starts sliding down for the rest of the week coming up here, and it starts taking on this level here, and then again 90.45, I'll be looking for them to tag up into the 90.25 level without a problem. So, and then we'll have to see what happens once NFP numbers come out on Friday of the week, and then from there we can formulate some opinions going into next for the rest of May. But again, long term, if this high here is breached and taken out and closed above, then I'll be expecting higher prices to go into May. And if this low here, this again 89.55 level gets breached and closed down below, then I would be expecting lower prices and potentially this range here to get filled in for the remainder of May. So that's sort of what we're looking for on the US dollar. Okay, but again, been talking about price getting drawn up into this level for a very, very long time. It finally did that. So now if it does want to reverse, there could be a couple of big setups that we're looking for here going forward. One of them being the Euro USD. I had said, again, big area right in here that I was expecting price to come in and tag into. Right off the old highs, basically right in here is sort of where I was looking. This small consolidation area right in there. Came into that area beautifully, drove right down into it. And again, that same rejection candle that we saw in the US dollar, we saw it here on the euro. And I think we will see prices run higher for the euro. Now, just to let you know, so long term, I guess I can just discuss that real quick. Long term, you can see here the highs. That's the target. If we do see big rejection on this and a reversal going back higher, I would expect the old highs of 125.50 to get ran, and then potentially these levels up in here would be targets. See this high over in here? That would be the next target, and so on and so forth up the ladder there, and these would be taking out the old highs of 2014. So definitely seeing a run higher on the euro, and that's what I'd be looking for if price wants to. Again, same type of idea. This is the middle of this consolidation range, this 123.20 level. If price breaks higher than that, then I will be expecting them to run for the highs up here. If we cannot get higher than that, for instance, if price starts to fail sort of right at this level, 122.20, this red line that I have right in here, then I would expect them to again scoop this lower. And if that were to happen, then we would obviously see the US dollar continue to push higher. So we'll be watching for that, but I would expect a bit of a retracement on the Euro USD for the week. And I think one of the levels on this week that I'd be watching for is this guy right in here. See how prices come up and created two equal highs, equal high here, equal high there. I think that's going to be Sorry guys, my audio just cut out there. I think that's going to be a big level for price to reach into this week. So that comes in the way of about 120 pips from now, so easily attainable. What I would expect them to do, though, is for price to sort of run up a little bit into Monday and potentially come back and sort of test these highs in here, the small consolidation range, and then find some support in that level and then make a push higher. That's what I'm looking for. Now, keep in mind here, I just wanted to point this one thing out. I posted this chart on Thursday or Friday of last week. I think it was Friday of last week. You see this low here. So price created a low and then a lower low and then a lower low here and tagged off of the highs here and created that nice sort of trend line down. I just kind of want to point something out to you how the price did the same thing on the US dollar, right? So same type of idea on the US dollar. You see that nice higher high, higher high, higher high, right? Same thing here. Now, if we go over to the pound dollar didn't do that. Pound dollar actually has not breached that low yet. And now I say that yet. Now there is some big news coming up for the pound sterling on, when was that? I think it was on Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday's trading, 4:30 a.m. New York time. There's some big news coming out for the pound dollar. So we could see potentially, and I've got the area marked on the chart right underneath here, we could see this pushing down into that area, banging off of these old highs in here that I've been talking about for a long time now, rejecting and then pushing higher. Same type of idea as the euro. But again, it has made that failure swing to come down lower than here. So we're going to have to wait and see what it wants to do for the rest of the week. But it could be forecasting sort of what's to come by price failing to get down here. They could do a failure swing, fail to get underneath here, and then just start running this higher. And again, I'm looking for the pre-Brexit highs to get taken out. This is a very, very bullish price structure, and I would expect that to continue. If price gets lower than this area in here, then obviously we'll change our opinion on that, and we'll be looking for lower prices. But for now, I am still bullish on this pair, but I want to see what happens with price the beginning of this week coming up. If it wants to dip down into here, great. I'll be looking for a failure to go any lower, and we'll be getting longs, and then we'll be targeting these highs up here. But we'll just have to wait and see. It was just something that I noticed there is some divergence right there. Price created a lower low, and failed to make another lower low, which is what the euro had done, right? Lower low, lower low, lower low, and the US dollar created a high, high, and higher high. So just something I had noticed. So we're going to have to wait and see what's going to happen there with price. And but I am looking, again, I am bullish overall. So for the month of May, I believe the outlook is going to be bullish. And what would change that is if price breaks this 135.90 level, closes lower, and fails to get above that, then we'll be looking for lower prices on the pound dollar. But again, pretty big level of support in this range right in here. So there'd have to be some pretty major economic news in order to drive that down. And really, I'm just looking for them to grab the liquidity under here, tag back off of these old highs, and then continue higher. So that's what we're looking for on pound dollar coming up for the week. And real quickly, US CAD, I want to discuss this quick. So you see the US dollar has punched up, made a high here. US CAD, the loonie, did the same similar thing. It had made a nice bullish run here to capture some of the liquidity above the market, has now been banging up against this small consolidation level in here. So this 128.90, basically 129 big figure level, that's sort of the line in the sand. If price pushes up higher than that, then we could see prices run higher and potentially take out this high here. I'm looking for them to roll over, though, and continue to fall south in correlation with the US dollar continuing to get weaker now that it's soaked up all the liquidity in here. Now, I don't necessarily know that it's going to come down, run lower under here, and start taking out these lows here. But I would definitely expect and look for it to run back down into this small consolidation level right down in here. You see how prices has really consolidated in that level there. I would be looking for a return back down to there for this week. And again, going forward, I'm not too sure, just because the price of the Canadian dollar has definitely not been in unison with the US dollar. You see the tight consolidation range in here. The US dollar, US CAD has not seen that. It had a nice run up, consolidated, dropped back down, big run up, and this was all while the US dollar was consolidating. And so this has definitely been posting, lower low, higher low, and then we've got another higher low here. So I wouldn't be expecting this area to get breached yet. So we'll have to wait and see. We could see higher prices on the US CAD, which aren't necessarily in unison with what the US dollar is doing, and these two usually trade in lockstep. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens here. But I am not expecting the price to go higher than there, and if we do see a failure, you see how price just grabbed a couple of pips above this one and rejected. Again, I'm looking for lower prices on here. So what I'd like to see coming up into the week is price just to do kind of one last ditch effort to run higher, not want to go any higher really than this level in here, and then continue to dump lower from there. And I believe we'll be targeting these lows in here. So watch for that. And that's all I want to talk about on those pairs. Just running into commodities real briefly. Crude oil, I normally do a lot of analysis on crude oil. Unfortunately, for the past 2 weeks, price has been in a tight consolidation range. Nothing to talk about here. This will expand quite a bit. I am looking for price to retrace, though, before it goes higher. I think we will see higher prices on crude oil going forward. Reading a lot of stuff on OPEC and with China and the, and Russia and what the U.S. is pumping out. I think economically speaking, everybody is kind of sick of oil prices being suppressed, and there's a lot of talk of driving it back up to maybe not $100 a barrel, but definitely 70s, 80s for sure, and maybe higher from there. But I am still bullish crude oil, as you can see here. If I look at a daily, you can see big bullish movement on crude oil. And until I would say these levels in here get breached, I'm not going to be bearish on this pair. Actually, to be honest with you, I would say this level, if these lows in here get ran and they start closing lower underneath here, then we may change our stance on that. But again, I don't think that's going to happen. I think I did want to see a move down lower and to sweep. See these lows right in here? I wanted price to come down and sweep into there and start bouncing off this small consolidation range in here. Didn't give me that at all, unfortunately. Price just ran right out of the gate and didn't come back to there, other than this one small minor shallow retracement here, and has been pushing up. But like I say, going forward, I'd like to see them come back down, scoop up the liquidity under here, run back down, and potentially retest the highs in this small consolidation range right in here. So that's what I'm going to be watching for. They may not get down that low, but I definitely think they will retrace it a little bit. But I think higher prices are going to be coming here pretty soon, because there's a lot of levels back up in here. And if once it does break the consolidation range in here and start running higher, 73.20 is going to be the first level that I'm going to be looking for price to reach to. So, but I can't really talk about too much anything in here right now, because it is in a tight consolidation range. So we're just going to have to wait for price to break out. Orange juice. Orange juice saw a dip back down on Wednesday's trading to our target area of 145.00 and exploded off of there. I'm still looking for higher prices on orange juice. I think these highs up in here are going to get tagged to this first target here at 159.55. So I'm going to be watching for that. Sugar. This is interesting. I had been talking about sugar now for a couple of weeks, and look what price did. This was the level that I was getting alerted at right here at 111.70. And price dipped down. And this is why you don't want to just buy all of a sudden, just because price hits a level. You want to wait and see what it does. Price ripped down for 3 more days, hit a low of 0.1083 on this feed, and has since had a nice reaction off of that level. So what I'm looking for, I'm just going to dial down into an hourly. You see how price has been steadily stair-stepping up. I'm going to look for a price to come back down into Monday, maybe Tuesday's trading. They'll probably do it right on Monday. to the 1135 level. If I can get that, not close enough. Basically, these old highs in here. I want to see price come back down, retest those old highs, find a level of support in here, and then start exploding higher. And I want to see them start running these ranges back up in here. You can see what they've done. All the way back down, they have not done one liquidity run. They've left, there's liquidity up here, 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 and all the way down, and they haven't been taking out any of the liquidity. So there's a ton of stops resting above here. And to be honest with you, I think seasonally speaking, sugar is going to have a bit of a run, and I think we could have seen the low. Now, what would negate this if the price comes back down, crashes through 1135 and starts to take out this low here? That would negate that, but I would be looking at some measure of support to happen right around this 1135 level. So we're going to be watching for that, because I believe we could see a big move on sugar, and that comes up in the way of these two equal highs up here. So don't worry about it. There's lots of time. I'll be watching this trading into tomorrow and seeing what price does. And for our members, if it does come down into our entry area, I will let you know via signal direct to your phone. Quickly on, I'm just going to wrap up here with Bitcoin, and then I'm going to talk about that NZD Kiwi trade here real quickly. But Bitcoin, for all my crypto lovers out there, made a nice push higher. I think we could be coming into a bit of an area of resistance up here. If price does start running up in the 10.5 level that I have marked out in the chart here, just keep an eye on that, because they could reject it and continue lower. But so far, price has been unwilling to go any lower. Came down, made kind of a half-ass attempt to fill this small gap in here. I believe they could do that on Monday, come back down, bounce off of this level here, and then continue higher, and maybe getting up into this 10,500 level here. So we're going to watch for that. I don't think they're going to be going too much higher. If they do rip up and take out these 12,000 levels up in here, big liquidity run in here, I'd be expecting a rejection and continuation lower, because I don't think they're done going lower. They came down, there's liquidity under here, tons of liquidity under here, and look what they did here. They came down, false move lower, and then have come higher. So I think they're going to just basically be scooping up all the everybody going short on Bitcoin, and I think they're going to just roll it up and drive it down one more time. So just keep an eye on that. Coffee, I was just watching this actually, interestingly enough. Coffee, not a beautiful market to trade, very choppy, nice downward trend, but we have since broken that with a big up push on Friday. Small little gap in this area here, so I'm going to be kind of keeping my eye on coffee. There could be a big move coming up here on coffee, so I'll let you know on that one going forward. Probably won't happen right away, but we'll watch for that. And then lastly, NZD. So NZD USD, the Kiwi. So you can see here on a daily, we've had a big area consolidation. Price finally broke out and has been crashing. And this is quite in tandem with what the US dollar is doing. See the big consolidation area here, price broke up, ran higher. Same type of idea on the Kiwi. Consolidation to the lower end. Now, if price, let's say Friday comes in here, let's say that's the low on Friday, and we do see a rejection at this level for higher prices, the first level I'd be looking for would be this 71.50 level right here. So not a huge range right off the bat, but there are definitely 70 pips potentially up for grabs that we could look at getting. So if we dial down, so what I'm saying here is, I think for this week anyway, I think price is going to retrace and run higher on the Kiwi. From there, again, same type of idea with the US dollar. If it starts to see resistance in this level, then it could roll over and continue lower and start to get back into this area here. But just for a real quick sort of intra-week trade, intraday trade, I believe we should see higher prices running on the Kiwi. And I'll drive down to an hourly and just kind of show you what that looks like. I've got a couple of levels mapped out here. And basically, it's just the old highs that it came out of. And I'll put a price tag on here, so you can kind of get an idea. So about somewhere right around 0.70 is kind of where I'm looking for price to tag into. And I want to see rejection and an unwillingness to go lower than that. And you can kind of see how price has been stabbing down. They came back down, just scooped these lows by a pip or two and exploded off. So I'm going to be looking for price to come down. And there is New Zealand news coming out again, like I say, 9 p.m. New York time Sunday evening. So that's where we could see it. So I'll be watching this as markets open for the rest of today on Sunday, and I want to see price come in, trade down to this, and then explode off of that. And we'd be looking for whoops, too far out. And I'd be looking basically just for this small consolidation level right up in here, get tagged. So I want to see price do this, come down, and then punch higher from there. So that's what I'm looking at. So there's kind of a freebie for you guys if you're looking for a trade setup on the week. Watch for that one because I think that's pretty high probability of that coming in. And just because, again, just based off of the rejection that we've seen here on the US dollar, if this starts to close in these areas down in here and seek for lower prices, we could see the Kiwi doing the exact opposite and running higher. So it could be a nice entry level to get in on. But I'm going to leave it at that for you guys. This video has been long enough. I hope you had a great weekend, great Sunday, and again, the bulk of your trading should be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of this week. And I would highly recommend you sitting on your hands for Thursday, Friday, and just studying markets, and then we'll get back into regular trading into the next week for May 7th and the rest of the month ensuing, which should be a good month. Now that US dollar is finally broken out of this area, it's going to be a little bit more predictable, and price should be flowing a little more smoothly, and we should see a lot more setups coming our way. So should be an exciting month. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you guys are too. Again, if you're not following us on Twitter or Instagram, here's all our social media info. Doesn't cost you anything. Check us out. Just click follow, and you'll see a lot of our updates via charts and everything on there. So thanks very much. Hope you guys have a great week, and we will catch up to you starting Monday. Thanks.